So we're starting with the presentation of the book, and as you can see I have the book right here with me now, and then on the front there's just these the lettering, the title, and then this small illustration with the name of the author at the bottom, and then showing some of the other books, those written on the back with the blurb. And I'm just going to read out the blurb right now so you can get an idea of the book that I'm going to review. Sam can't stand the weird new boy Davy, but when the two of them are thrown together, Sam discovers that Davy's eccentric way of looking at the world makes life a lot more interesting until something terrible happens. I think that the blurb is quite interesting, the way that how it says Sam can't stand the new weird boy Davy. You can tell that something wrong is going to happen, and then the two of them are thrown together. They're kind of like not like forced together, but they're put together, so you're going to have to it makes you want to see the reaction, what happens when the two of them meet each other. And then how Davy's eccentric way of looking at the world makes life a lot more exciting. You want to be able to see what does he do to make life more exciting. And then the last bit of the blurb where it says, until something terrible happens. You really want to know what the terrible thing that happens. There's just like the ellipsis there. It really makes you want to find out what happens at the end of the book. Yeah. Time to move on to the next part. Now, time for the next part of the book review, which is, what is the book about? My interpretation of what the book is about is trust. When Davy told Sam about his allergy, and then Sam accidentally told one of his friends, Alex, about it, and it caused a lot of problems. This incident is the main incident in the story. If Sam had just been a little bit more cautious and hadn't told Alex about it, the storyline of the book would be really different. It would have changed so much in the book. The next thing I think this book is about is how social status can affect people and their behaviours and their lifestyle. Sam wanted everyone to see him as a strong person. He also wanted to be popular, which affected his behaviour. He always tried to hide his friendship with Davy, even when they did eventually become friends. Never judge someone's way of life until you get to know them. They might actually teach you something. Sam immediately started to judge Davy, but he learned a great deal from him. The person you hate the most may have to be the one to save you. Sam kept bullying Davy, yet Davy was the one who saved him from being hit. Sam was confused and scared by this action, but he presented it as a lot of anger. It's time for the third part of the book review, the introduction. Chapter 1 is the introductory chapter that starts the book. It first tells us that the scene is in a school setting. This bit happens before we get to know a little bit more about Sam, because it's at the start of the book. The person who is referred to as I, which we now know as Sam, even though it's at the start of the book and we don't know that it's Sam yet, you can guess that they are likely to be the main character, or the character whose perspective we follow throughout the book, because of the use of first-person pronouns in that part. And now for the characters in the setting. This story takes place mainly in a school environment, and most of the characters in the story are students, including the main characters. The protagonist of this story is also somewhat the antagonist of the story, which makes this quite an interesting read, different to the other books where you can easily tell what the role of each of the characters are. This character is called Sam, who I've mentioned quite a lot previously. You could say that the real antagonists are the students of the school. This story's foundations are built on the fact that social status is important, and you can't just be liked by everybody straight away. It will take them a while to get used to you being around them, and they'll feel threatened if you start trying to introduce new or weird ideas all of a sudden. Ideologies become very important in life. The deuteragonist is also somewhat a main character too. This character is called David, more commonly known as Davy in the story, who I've mentioned a little bit about as well. As the story is set in a school environment, there are a lot of characters, but not all of them are involved in the story as the others. Now I'm going to talk about the style of writing. Cloudbusting is written in a way that is inspired by many different types of poetry, which makes it quite fun and easy to read. Haikus, limericks, blank verses, shape poems, and more types of poems are used. The author made all of the titles of each chapter to be part of the meaning of that chapter. There are illustrations at the start of each chapter that connect really well with what the corresponding chapter is about. These are my final words and opinions. One of the things I liked about this book was how predictable yet unpredictable the storyline is. Sure, it can be confusing, but it makes the way this book was written so unique compared to the other books with those cliche plots where you can guess everything that is going to happen so easily. I love how it's written in short poetry, yet you still get so much from it. Overall, I think I'd rate this book 4.5? Maybe a 4.7 actually, but quite a high rating from me. Thank you so much for watching my book review. I hope you enjoyed it.